I've had seasons where I was surrounded by people that were not supportive, and that kept me stuck. Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to another episode of Just In Case. Just in case you don't know me, my name is Casey, and if you find yourself lacking accountability or not growing, I'm here to remind you that your environment and your systems in place may be the reason for that. So let's talk about accountability, real accountability. We all say that we want to be consistent, we want to be motivated, we want to be self-led, but it's really not always that simple. Something I've learned along my journey is that relying on self-motivation can be a struggle for some. Personally, me, I tend to cultivate all my motivation from within. That is something that I'm very grateful for, but everyone is different, and you listening to me, you may get extremely motivated, and then as soon as you click off this video, you find that it's not there. So that might not be reliable for you. So it's all about creating a system that works for you to hold yourself accountable. Sometimes we expect growth to happen without any real support. I have been there. You think that it's just going to happen the more you force, push, and pull, but that also may be the reason why you're being held back. And sometimes we hold ourselves to impossible standards. So this is going to be a reality check you probably are in need of. And this is your reminder that you don't have to do it alone. And we're going to break down what accountability really means and how your environment plays a huge role in that, and you may not even realize it. So self-accountability is very powerful, but it's not everything. Being driven is amazing, but it doesn't mean that you're doing everything by yourself. There are ways, even if you are alone, that you can have support to hold yourself accountable for your goals, your dreams, your visions, your desires, whatever it is that you're trying to create. And you can be disciplined and still need the support of others, and you can still need the structure and the reminder and the systems in place. And that is actually what will keep you rolling, keep you growing, keep you shining. Sometimes the pressure to hold yourself accountable puts you into this shame loop where you're shaming yourself, and that is not the energy we want you to be in. We don't want, it's going to be hard to find success when it's built on a foundation of shame, because you're constantly telling yourself that you need to be something you're not, whatever it is. So it's okay to admit when you need help from others and when you need support to keep you on track. I personally would not be able to be successful in my creative pursuits and endeavors if it weren't for the systems that I have in place. So we're going to talk about that today. And the first thing that I want to address is that when it comes to creative pursuits, again, like I mentioned in the beginning of this, I am very good at cultivating motivation for myself, and I feel like I am an energy machine and I can just keep going. Sometimes I struggle to pause. That's where my systems need to come in place to remind me that it's okay to pause. But when it comes to creative pursuits that I may be in a rut and I'm struggling to start or get into or whatever it is, collaborating with others is something that really helps me stay accountable, because there's a whole different energy when you are putting two brains together to create something, and you're usually picking a time and place and you're agreeing to something. So you're saying, we're going to go here, we're going to do this, we're going to make this, and just doing that with someone else, because a lot of the times we might not be respecting our own time and energy and our own commitments to ourselves personally. Like if you say, I'm going to wake up at this time, and then you snooze, you're breaking trust with yourself. But a lot of the times, even if we have that relationship with ourselves, we don't have that with others. So if you tell someone you're going to do something, you're going to do it. So if you get a friend in the mix that's also in the same field as you and you want to collaborate on something together, a lot of the times creating that plan will give you that stability, the accountability that you're looking for, which is more stability. It's stable when you know that you're going to show up, right? So with that being said, when you're collaborating with others, that has to do with your environment, the people that surround you, the spaces, and the energy that surround you. Your environment will either help you grow or keep you stuck. This is something that I have learned through experience, and I've learned a lot about myself through my relationships and other people, places I've lived, spaces I've lived in, people I've been around with. If your space is chaotic, you will probably feel chaotic as well. That is just a given. I have an episode where I talk all about feng shui and how I believe our space is a reflection of our inner world. So if your outer world is all cluttered and chaotic, you're probably feeling like that in your brain, even if you don't realize it. But if you're surrounded by people who don't believe in what you're doing, it's going to be a lot harder to stay connected to your reason why and to your passion and to your motivation. So being surrounded by people that allow you to be you and that are also rooting for you is huge and crucial. And if you're not, you're in a season of challenge, of growth on how bad do you really want it? Because if you don't have anyone around you believing in your mission and your vision for your future and your dreams and your goals, that means that you're the only one in your space and environment that is believing in it. So you better believe hard and you better be trusting and really persevering through that moment, because I'm telling you, you will find the people that do believe in you and help keep you motivated and are rooting for you. It will happen. So it's important to create an environment that reflects the values and the morals of your mission, of what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. For example, in my dance career and my dance journey, if I am surrounding myself with other creatives and other dancers, people that create music, I am supporting my dreams and my visions by keeping myself in an environment where other people get it and I don't have to explain myself to people on why it is I'm doing what I'm doing. People don't ask those questions. There is a deep knowing and mutual understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing, because those people just get it. And then that's when your creativity can flow, your inspiration can flow with others there with you, alongside of you. But sometimes when you're with people who maybe have small minds in relation to what you're pursuing and they don't fully get it, you spend a lot of energy explaining what it is you're doing or why you're doing it, which is counteractive to actually doing the things and taking the aligned action to pour into your mission and your goal and your dream. So we don't want you wasting your energy on things that are draining you, because it's draining to keep explaining yourself on why you're doing something. Just throwing that out there. So I've had seasons where I was surrounded by people that were not supportive and that kept me stuck. I've had seasons where I was around people who didn't get it and they kept me doubting myself, and I would question why, and it would turn into this spiral of, am I really supposed to be doing this, when I was completely ignoring my own intuition, and the fact that I was desiring to make this dream a reality is enough of a reason for me to go for it. So it was very helpful when I learned that other people's projection of what they think I should be pouring my time and energy into isn't real. Like, that is not something that I have to focus on. And as long as I can stay clear and connected to my why and my mission, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because I'm gonna keep going and pushing forward towards making my dream a reality. So this is where I'm gonna get a bit woo-woo here, because this is something that I've been studying for years, and more so this week I've been reading about. I go through phases with this, but it is numerology. So everyone, whether you believe it or not, we all have numerology coded into our names. There is something called the Pythagorean alphabet, and it is where every letter is assigned a number. We live in a matrix. Everything is like coded into this freaking world, and I'm here to remind you that. If you don't know, I have some resources that you can find in the description if you're on YouTube, or in the show notes if you're on Spotify. Wherever you're listening, you can check the description. I'll have some links to a website where you can find out your numerology, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and just like Google it and figure it out yourself. But everyone has a life path number. So that is what I've been specifically diving into this week. And depending on what life path number you are, it will basically tell you about the themes that you'll experience. And I mainly use numerology as an experiment. I use it as something to compare the reality of my world and what these tale as old as time narratives are when it comes to numerology, like other information out there that's shared. So this week specifically, I was looking into life paths, and I am a life path number 9, which I'm going to tell you a bit about. I am not going to go into all of this because this episode is not about numerology, but this is something that ties hand in hand with what I'm speaking about in my personal experience. So as a life path number 9, I'm going to share some of the information from the numerology perspective, but just know that I have personally experienced these themes play out in my life, and I'm going to connect it so you'll see what I'm talking about here. So as a life path 9, 9 carries the energy of all the other numbers. If you add up any number to 9, it always comes back to 9, or it comes back to 3, 6, 9, because when you double 3, you get 6, and then add more 3s, you get 9. Okay, so 9 carries the energy of all the other numbers. So it is like a master number in a sense of, like, they tend to say they're old souls when you have a life path 9, because you've lived through and you could feel all the other energies throughout all the other numbers. So for example, life path 9, they're adaptable, meaning that they can absorb other energies around them because they have all of the other energies of all the other numbers within them. So for example, as a life path 9, if I'm around someone who's a life path 3, I can intuitively feel their energy and absorb that, and I can become my environment. So life path 9s are very susceptible to becoming the environment around them. So sometimes I wish I knew this stuff a little bit earlier. I saw it through the lens that I see it through now, because I feel like it would have prevented a lot of like things that I could have avoided. I could have worked through certain phases of my life a bit faster if I recognized this in those moments, but a lot of the times they're there to teach you, and they did. So here I am telling you about it now. As a 9, I can say that I most definitely can become absorbed by my environments, and I can really adapt to the people around me, and I can fit in anywhere. I can make myself fit in anywhere, and I can match people's energy, and that's not always the good thing when you're around people that maybe you don't want to be matching. So a big challenge for 9s is to find within themselves what they're connected to and what makes them them, and to really ground into that, so that no matter what room or environment you go into, they can lead from their energy and not from the absorption of energy of the people around them, if that makes sense. So that is something that I have been working on a lot this past year, and I'm going to confidently say that I think I've been doing very well with the way that I've been growing and channeling my own energy into my creative pursuits and my dreams and my visions, and really staying connected to my why for me. And it's been feeling really good, and I feel like I've been staying super aligned and on track and taking all the challenges with grace, and that is something that feels great to say and sit in and feel and experience, because of the journey that I've had, where I have really lost myself a lot of the times over the years. I have just lost myself in other people, in friendships, in romance, in jobs, in work. Like, I have become things that weren't necessarily Casey. They weren't me. It wasn't Case. It was whoever I was with. And that's something that maybe I'm an empath, or maybe I'm a life path 9. I don't know. Maybe it's both. But it does definitely feel really good to be rooted and grounded into myself. So I just want to clarify here and tie this together with the environment situation. I'm going to be very vulnerable here. There have been times where I was surrounded by people that were just partying nonstop, and that was all they were doing. And I could adapt to that, and I can be like, oh, I'm going to join in. And I join in on that, and then here I am, partying nonstop, matching that energy, when truly at my core, that's not my purpose in life. That's not my purpose in life. So it feels really good breaking through that one, because that is one that can completely destroy any dream or vision you want to bring to life if you're partying too much. And my idea of fun was a lot different than what it is now. So it's really cool to grow and change with the seasons and embody a version of myself that feels really connected to my authenticity and who I am at a core level. So I'm happy that I'm able to bring this version of Casey to you here today. But we're going to continue. So again, the seasons where I was around people who kept me in bad habits that weren't supporting me were struggles. It was a struggle. It was fairly easy once I made that connection and I decided to no longer surround myself with those people. Some people take it personally. Other people completely understood, and they were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If I'm like, I cannot be around you because I will fall into my bad patterns. And it's nothing about the other people, because everyone has their free will and everyone can choose to spend their energy and their time the way they choose to. And there's nothing wrong. There's no judgment. But for me personally, knowing that I so deeply will be in whatever moment I'm in with those people, it's almost like I'm giving myself permission to do things that are out of alignment with the core of my essence and what I want to be putting my energy towards. So I stopped putting myself in situations where I would fall into bad habits, and it's been great ever since. It's been great. I feel a lot of mental clarity. I feel like I have been nonstop manifesting my goals into reality faster than ever before, that I've ever experienced. I'm just going to say that. Next thing we're going to talk about is supportive accountability and how it feels different. It feels so different when you have supportive accountability. You don't need someone barking at you. You don't need someone yelling at you. You need someone believing in you, even if that person is just yourself. Even if you are the only one that's believing in you, that is supportive accountability. Supportive accountability sounds like, you said this mattered. How can I support that? People asking, like the people around you asking, how can I support you in this moment? Like, what can I do? Or if it's yourself, asking yourself, what can I do to support myself in this moment? Whether it is getting fresh air, taking a break, going for a walk, the littlest things like that will make a difference. And checking in with yourself, you're not punishing yourself, but checking in, like, is this working? Is this bringing me closer to my goals? Is this making me feel fulfilled? Those are great questions to ask yourself. So supportive accountability is a mirror. It's not a megaphone. No one is screaming at you. If they are, that is not support or accountability. Like, that's not going to keep you accountable. That's going to put you into a shame loop. So being present with yourself, checking in with yourself to make sure that you're still feeling fulfilled by what you're doing, and having those periodic check-ins are game changer. Absolute game changer. So we're going to talk about some signs that your accountability system is not working. And then I'm going to tell you my personal accountability system, and I'm going to share some insights into that because that's some valuable information, right? So signs that your accountability system isn't working is that you feel guilty even when you're doing your best. Like when you are showing up, doing your absolute best, which your best is going to look different from one moment to the next. But when you are showing your best, showing up as your best, and you feel guilty, that is a sign that it is not working, because someone or something that is keeping you accountable is supposed to keep you feeling graceful through your process of wherever you're at. It's okay to give yourself grace. It's okay to be realistic with yourself. It's okay to lower the pressure and increase the presence so that you can be you fully in this moment, because there's probably a reason why you're feeling burnt out or sluggish or needing a pause, whatever it is. I'm speaking very general here because this concept can be applied to many different things. But another sign that your accountability system isn't working is if you keep setting goals that you're not achieving. So if you keep telling yourself you're going to wake up early and then you don't, you hit that snooze button, what's going on with your accountability system? Are you trying to achieve something that maybe you're not meant to be achieving right now? Is there something else that you should be pouring your time and your energy into? Just a thought. More signs that your accountability system is not working is that you only celebrate big wins and you ignore the process. You ignore the journeys and the small wins. You only celebrate the big milestones. You don't celebrate that, say you want to wake up early, but you woke up at 7 or 8, but you want to wake up at 6. You're not celebrating the 30-minute increments getting there. You're not celebrating the fact that you took a walk for 5 minutes instead of scrolling. You're not celebrating those little things. Like, that is what is the most important. And the key here is you are celebrating. You can't have someone come in and tell you, hey, it's time for you to celebrate that you did this thing. It's great to have someone there to celebrate those small wins with you. But a lot of the times we almost feel guilty for celebrating something small because we're shaming ourselves, thinking that we should have gotten the big goal, the big transformation. But it's okay to celebrate the small wins, and this is your reminder to do that. Another sign that your accountability system isn't working is that you're more focused on being productive than being present. I am guilty of this. A lot of the times I'll create the biggest to-do list for myself, and when I look at it, it's very unrealistic. It is unrealistic that I could get all of these things done in one day. It's something that would take another person like a week to do, but I think that I'm this superhero that could just do all of these things. So I'm trying to stay productive, but then it refuses me from being present because maybe my body needs rest. And as a female, there's cycles that you go through, and that affects your hormones, your energy levels, different weeks. I'm feeling different things. So I need to be present with that. I can say, it's hard for me to make plans in the future, like advance, because of this reason, where sometimes I'll have to go on my calendar and see like what phase am I going to be in, because I may need to rest that period. But what I'm getting at is that if you are trying to fill your time with being productive, you're not present, and then you're not leaving room for what's authentic and what's present, real for you in that moment, whereas you're committing yourself to things that maybe you're going to need to rest, or maybe your energy is going to be elsewhere. So it's a balancing act. It truly is a balancing act, and I've gotten better with this over time. We're going to talk about how I got better at this over time, and how I built an accountability system that works for me, that I have been sticking to for the past like 3-4 months, and I feel like I'm glowing. I feel like I'm thriving, and that is just a feeling. That's not even like on the physical sense. I feel like I've been feeling so good internally for the past few months from all this work and change and things I've been adapting to in my life. And I feel like now it's going to start reflecting on the outside. Like what you're seeing out here is a reflection of the work that I started doing months ago. So it's almost like the outside is catching up with what's going on inside. Transformation is built from the inside out. Self-love is built from the inside out. There's no external source of validation that can come in and just hand you these things. This is a journey, it's a process, and it is something that you need to devote yourself to and continue to show up. When the cowboy falls off his horse, he gets back on the saddle. Am I right? Okay, so we're going to talk about creating a system that actually supports you, the real you. So first thing I got to say is, if you have anyone, if you also know you're a life path number 9 and you keep yourself in environments where you don't want to be those things, get yourself out of there. I could speak to you personally and we could have a chat one-on-one, but if you know you're a life path 9, just be careful of the environments that you put yourself into, because you will become susceptible and absorb those energies. I ain't kidding. Not kidding about that one. But ask yourself what actually helps you stay consistent and showing up without burning out. Taking 3-minute breaks, taking 10-minute breaks throughout your day, does that help you? Or do you need to just have this bulk hour where you just do things for a few hours and then you take a bigger pause? Is it easier for you to work at night? Especially as a creative, I can beat myself up for this. Sometimes I get inspired and I want to do work on my computer at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Normal people are sleeping and I'm like, Casey, go to bed. But that's actually what might work for me. So why would I deny that if that's what's working for me? Because we're all creating our own rules here. Or you're looking at someone else's rules and telling and like making them your own and creating that in your belief system. So this is your reminder and your permission to create your own rules and check in with what you need, what you really want, and what's important for your goals and dreams to become reality. Ask yourself, do you need structure? Do you need space? Do you need a friend? Do you need weekly rituals? Do you need to have a date night with yourself once a week? I find a lot of the times that if I do not take space for myself and I do not step away from everything and have some alone time, I will burn out, I will crash out, and I will be so consumed by everything else outside of me and in my environment that I almost forget who I am. And then I have to like go through this season where I come back to myself and I'm like, oh yeah, I just needed some time alone. I just needed to get away for a minute by myself. I needed to check in with me and stop putting all my focus on everything going on outside of me. Oh. To be a cat mom, another thing that has helped me set a system for my accountability is to ask yourself and be honest, what motivates you long term, not just in your moment of hype. Does it motivate you to have stability? Does stability motivate you? Are you motivated by money? What are you motivated by? What motivates you in the long term? For me, it's stability. For me, it's the consistency. For me, it is building a community, building something that feels loving and something that is providing value and something that also is a lot of fun. That is why I've been pouring so much of my time into Slow Grooves, which is where I teach people to dance online. And then I also do like one-on-one coaching, which has been my favorite. And then there's also my podcast where I get to just share my thoughts, my opinions, my stories, my experiences, how it's shaped me and how I've grown and learned through things with you. And we just get to chit chat. We just get to chit chat. And that has also been my favorite. I'm very happy that I started this adventure. And again, I'm just very grateful that you're here with me. Be honest about what motivates you long term. For me, it's stability. So I need to come back to myself often. Munchie, stop doing that, please. So think about what motivates you long term. For me, it's stability. So creating something that I can always come back to, that I can consistently show up to, that is going to be fun and exciting. And if it's not fun and exciting when I step into it, I know that after I do the thing, it's going to feel fun and exciting. For you here on video, enjoy the show that Munchie is putting on for you guys right now. She does this all the time. It's actually kind of frustrating, but I love her. I love her so deeply. Having the right system will make you feel more like yourself, not less. If there are things around you telling you have to change, sometimes you do have to change. But I'm speaking to the people that are in situations where you want to create something that's authentic to you and you have this goal or vision for something in your own life and other people have opinions about it that should not. Just being honest here. Or people that try and take you away from what your vision is. It's okay to take a step back. It's not, the right system will make you feel more like yourself. There will be encouragement to be you. It will be like, show us more of you. Let's get deep. Let's be real here. Not the opposite. It's not going to make you feel less like yourself, which is something that you should always keep in mind and something that I should always keep in mind and remind myself. But I've been doing good so far. So far, so good. So this is a practical tip. I mean, all of these are practical tips, but what I've been doing for the past couple months is working with my bestie, ChatGPT. I have ChatGPT set up like my personal assistant, and it's been keeping me accountable. It's been helping me cultivate a relationship with myself where I can hold myself more accountable. So I have been using ChatGPT as my personal assistant for a few months now, and it has been life-changing because it has helped me build trust with myself, and it's also helped me get very realistic with my goals and my visions and my ideas. I will brain dump all the things that I am telling myself I have to do to be productive, and I will ask, is this realistic to get done in this time frame in this day? And a lot of the times ChatGPT can be brutally honest. Sometimes it will not be honest and it will be like just guessing you to death basically, but I will say be brutally honest, do not hold back, and it does that for me. And it has been actually very, very progressive in my growth. Like, it's really helped me, and it's helped me stay on track, and it's helped me build trust with myself, and it's helped me get clear on the system that I created and how I am supporting myself. And that is something else that I want to talk about, like hyper independence, which I know too well. There's a lot of times where I feel like I am either on one side of the scale or the other when it comes to independence. I'm either super codependent or I am in my hyper independence, but I feel like right now I found a great medium, a great balance between the two, knowing when to ask for support, knowing when to call in others for my support, and knowing when I can trust myself and support myself in that moment and not lean so far on the scale of like I have to do everything on my own. But there's a balancing act to everything, because when you come out of a season where maybe you were really codependent on other people, substances, environments, jobs, like whatever it was, when you come back on the other side of that, you're gonna have to balance out those scales by leaning into the hyper independence, and that's just natural. I think that's a natural ebb and flow of life, balancing your scales. Something I want to remind you here, growth does not mean doing it alone. You can have a friend, you can have a coach, you can have a community, you can have whatever it is that will be supportive and fulfilling for you, and that is something for you to decide. You don't have to grow alone. You can find what keeps you grounded, find what keeps you motivated and inspired, and that may very well be a community. It could be yourself. It could be something that you find in books or in movies or in music, something that makes you feel connected to yourself in a way that only you can give you. Your dreams deserve structure, not stress. So creating a system to keep you accountable, it should not make you feel more stressed. The system and the structure is there to take away the stress. The more autonomous that you can make that system, the better. The more you can just be in the present moment, the better. So creating a system that allows you to be in your present moment and make decisions based on your energy levels in that moment has been game changer for me, absolute game changer. And then it feels like when I do show up, I'm showing up fully, I'm showing up as 100% myself, and I'm allowing myself the flexibility to move and groove between things as I feel called to in each moment, which has been game changer. You don't need to be pushed. You need to stay plugged into your power. You need to find what motivates you, what energizes you, what lights you up, and keep choosing that over and over again. And if you fall off the horse, you get back up on the saddle. That's what I'm gonna say. That's the reality of it. That is my experience with it. You don't have to stay in environments that keep you small. You don't have to dim your light to make other people feel comfortable. You deserve to have environments that support your growth and support your journey. And if no one else believes in you, I believe in you, and it's time that you believe in yourself. I hope that you have a beautiful moment wherever you are. If you feel like this resonated, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please like, share, subscribe, follow the podcast. It means the world to me, and it will help me stay motivated to keep going. Because a lot of the times, not a lot of the times, every time I'm sitting here talking to myself in a camera, and it can be the funniest, trippiest thing, but talking to yourself in a camera is kind of weird, and it's hard because you don't have anyone to bounce things off of. So I'm bouncing off of you guys in the comments. So with that being said, enjoy your moment wherever you are. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.